The FBI's investigation began on March 12, 2024, when Special Agent Daniel Morris arrived at an apartment complex in Arlington, Virginia, responding to reports of a suspicious death. The victim, Thomas Carter, a 34-year-old junior analyst from CIA headquarters in Langley, had failed to report for duty, triggering security protocols for personnel with classified clearance. The initial crime scene assessment revealed a meticulously planned operation. Carter's apartment showed no signs of forced entry, with all security systems functioning normally. The forensic team documented that the perpetrator had comprehensive knowledge of both the building's layout and security measures. The medical examiner determined the cause of death as asphyxiation through manual strangulation, executed with military precision characteristic of special operations training. Through subsequent investigation, the FBI confirmed that Major Michael Johnson, previously declared killed in action in Afghanistan, had accessed the building at 2:17. Johnson, a former Delta Force commander with extensive combat experience, employed specialized infiltration techniques to enter Carter's apartment undetected. The perpetrator's movements within the apartment were deliberate and efficient, spending exactly 37 minutes inside. During this period, he executed a military-grade stranglehold on the sleeping victim, ensuring rapid unconsciousness and death with minimal evidence of struggle. Post-mortem analysis revealed that Johnson accessed Carter's computer using sophisticated password-cracking software, requiring 7 minutes and 42 seconds to breach the security systems. In a calculated move, he accessed and displayed classified files pertaining to Operation Sandstorm, a mission from a decade ago that had resulted in the deaths of Johnson's entire squad. The perpetrator made no attempt to conceal his digital footprint, instead leaving clear evidence of his presence and the specific files he had targeted. The investigation of Carter's personal safe uncovered that several critical documents had been duplicated. Johnson strategically left a partial fingerprint on the keyboard, marking the first piece of evidence in what would become a methodical trail leading to those responsible for betraying his unit. This deliberate leaving of evidence demonstrated that the perpetrator wanted investigators to follow his path of retribution. The case's origins trace back to 2014, when a 12-man Delta Force unit under Major Johnson's command received deployment orders to a classified location in the mountains of Afghanistan. The mission, designated Operation Sandstorm, ended catastrophically when the unit encountered a carefully planned ambush. Official military records documented all members as killed in action, including Johnson, though his remains were never recovered from the operation site. The truth, as revealed through subsequent investigation, proved more complex. Johnson had survived the initial ambush when an explosion propelled him into a deep ravine. He sustained multiple shrapnel wounds and a severe concussion, but remained unconscious and hidden from the insurgent forces. The attackers, believing they had eliminated all targets, failed to locate him among the rocky terrain. Johnson regained consciousness hours after the assault, surrounded by his deceased team members. The precise timing and execution of the ambush led him to conclude this was not a random encounter but rather a coordinated betrayal orchestrated from within military intelligence. Over the next decade, Johnson orchestrated an elaborate plan for revenge and exposure. He constructed a new identity as Thomas Shepard, establishing himself as a firearms instructor in Montana. This position provided him with both coverage and resources to systematically gather intelligence connecting various officials to the betrayal of his unit. His investigation began with Carter and ultimately led to the identification of the operation's architect, Terrence Clifford. FBI behavioral analysts determined that Carter's murder represented the opening phase of an intricately planned operation. The methodology employed, the precision of execution, strategic placement of evidence, and specific target selection, indicated this was not merely an act of revenge but the initiation of a systematic campaign to expose a decade-old conspiracy. Johnson had spent years mapping connections between key figures involved in the betrayal of his unit, creating a precise sequence of targets. Carter's elimination served as the first step in dismantling this network of betrayal. The investigation recovered additional evidence from Carter's residence, indicating his direct involvement in coordinating the ambush of Johnson's unit. Financial records showed unusual transactions coinciding with the timing of Operation Sandstorm, while encrypted communications suggested Carter had served as a liaison between military intelligence and external parties interested in the mission's failure. This discovery validated Johnson's selection of Carter as his initial target and suggested that subsequent targets would share similar connections to the original betrayal. law enforcement agencies mobilized to identify potential future targets based on connections to Operation Sandstorm, but Johnson's decade of preparation had provided him with significant advantages in executing his campaign. FBI forensic examiner Dr. Elizabeth Parker documented the professional execution of Gary Pearson at his Miami estate on April 14, 2024. The victim, a former Pentagon financial officer, was found with multiple precision knife wounds. The scene revealed a message written in blood. For Rodriguez. 2 security personnel were eliminated, one through arterial severance, the other via suppressed firearm. Johnson conducted 3 days of surveillance at Pearson's estate before the operation, mapping security patterns and vulnerabilities. Investigation confirmed that Pearson had authorized a $5 million payment linked to the betrayal of Johnson's Delta Force unit. At 1:22, Johnson deployed signal jamming equipment and infiltrated the property through an unmapped drainage system. The first guard was neutralized with a single knife strike. The second guard was eliminated with 2 suppressed shots to the base of the skull. The investigation revealed that Johnson found Pearson in his study reviewing financial records. Pearson attempted to access a weapon from his desk, resulting in a brief struggle. Johnson inflicted 17 precise knife wounds. The message referenced Sergeant Eduardo Rodriguez, the unit's explosive specialist who died in the Afghanistan ambush, leaving behind a wife and 2 children. Johnson exited through the service entrance, disposed of tactical gear 1.5 kilometers away, and crossed state lines within 7 hours. On April 21, 2024, Johnson eliminated Luis Garza, a former diplomatic attaché from Kabul, at Miami's marina. The shot was taken from 817 meters. Investigation of Garza's yacht uncovered classified documents detailing military unit movements in Afghanistan during Operation Sandstorm. A photograph was left beside the body with the inscription, "For Garcia." Documents from Pearson's files exposed a money laundering scheme concealing payments to parties involved in compromising Operation Sandstorm. The financial trail connected multiple high-ranking officials and private military contractors, revealing a broader conspiracy. Garza's documents provided intelligence about the network behind the ambush. His diplomatic position had been used to coordinate with local assets in Afghanistan. The recovered files contained maps marking the exact location where the Delta Force team would be ambushed, proving premeditation. FBI analysis confirmed that Johnson had prepared detailed dossiers on each target, including their security protocols and daily routines. Each killing served to eliminate conspiracy participants while gathering additional intelligence about the betrayal's full scope. The theatrical elements of the crimes, blood messages and photographs, drew attention to the personal cost of the betrayal. Despite increased security measures for individuals connected to Operation Sandstorm, Johnson's methodical approach and decade of preparation rendered standard protective measures ineffective. Both crime scenes yielded minimal forensic evidence, demonstrating Johnson's expertise in evidence management. Each target had been selected not only for their role in the betrayal, but also for the intelligence they possessed, creating a trail of revealed information with each elimination. The investigation also uncovered that Pearson's involvement went beyond financial transactions. He had actively participated in coordinating the ambush, using his position to authorize irregular payments while concealing their true purpose. The evidence recovered from his office provided direct links to other conspiracy members, validating Johnson's methodical approach to dismantling the network. The dual operations in Miami demonstrated Johnson's ability to adapt his tactics. From close-quarter combat at Pearson's estate to long-range elimination of Garza, he showcased the full spectrum of his military training. This versatility made predicting his next move particularly challenging for law enforcement agencies. Special Agent Robert Taylor's operational briefing on April 30, 2024, established Michael Johnson as a uniquely dangerous target. Taylor emphasized that Johnson's Delta Force training and decade-long preparation made him equivalent to an entire tactical unit. The agent noted that protecting Terrence Clifford had become their highest priority, though he expressed doubts about their ability to counter an operator of Johnson's caliber. DNA analysis from the crime scenes confirmed Michael Johnson's identity, leading federal agents to his cover residence in Billings, Montana. Investigation revealed that Johnson, operating under the alias Thomas Shepard, had vacated the premises 8 hours before the raid, taking essential equipment and documentation. The decade-long investigation into Johnson's activities showed his methodical approach to establishing cover. As a firearms instructor, he maintained minimal social contact while building his operational base. Interviews with associates described a quiet professional who avoided discussing his background. Financial records showed he operated exclusively in cash transactions, paying rent monthly in advance. On May 3, 2024, Johnson tracked Terrence Clifford, who had been living under the alias Richard Moreno in San Diego. After 2 days of surveillance, Johnson breached the property through a maintenance tunnel. He neutralized the first guard with a precise knife strike in the garage. The second guard was eliminated using a garrote on the upper floor. However, Clifford escaped, having been alerted by security systems 4 minutes before Johnson's arrival. FBI technical analysis of Clifford's hastily abandoned computer revealed connections to Argus, a private military company. The perpetrator left a photograph of Captain James Williams's family attached to Clifford's bedroom mirror, with the message, "They waited 10 years for you." Williams, an African-American officer in Johnson's unit, had been among those killed in the Afghanistan ambush. Investigation of Johnson's Montana residence provided insight into his decade of preparation. Documents revealed extensive surveillance of multiple targets, including detailed security assessments and personnel routines. Financial records indicated systematic cash withdrawals from various locations across the western United States, creating a network of cached resources. The FBI's examination of Clifford's property yielded critical intelligence about the scope of the original betrayal. Recovered documents showed that Clifford, operating through multiple shell companies, had orchestrated the financial aspects of the Operation Sandstorm sabotage. His connection to Argus suggested a deeper involvement of private military contractors in the ambush. Following the failed assassination attempt, Clifford was evacuated to the Argus training facility in Nevada. The compound, staffed by former Special Operations personnel, represented one of the most secure private military installations in the country. Despite this, Agent Taylor's team recognized that traditional security measures had repeatedly proved inadequate against Johnson's capabilities. Surveillance records from Clifford's San Diego residence revealed Johnson's advanced infiltration techniques. He had bypassed multiple layers of security, including motion sensors and infrared cameras, demonstrating expertise that exceeded standard special operations training. The precision of his movements suggested extensive pre-planning and possibly prior access to the property's security specifications. The investigation team documented Johnson's strategic escalation. From the initial assassination of Carter to the assault on Clifford's residence, each operation had grown more complex while maintaining the same level of precision. The evidence indicated that Johnson had anticipated Clifford's eventual evacuation to the Argus facility, suggesting this too was part of his planned sequence. Analysis of the recovered Argus documentation exposed a complex network of former military and intelligence personnel involved in private security operations. Many had indirect connections to Operation Sandstorm, raising questions about the extent of the conspiracy. The FBI's investigation revealed that Argus had been instrumental in providing logistical support for operations in Afghanistan during the period of Johnson's unit's ambush. The technical assessment of Clifford's computer yielded additional evidence linking multiple high-ranking military officials to the betrayal. Encrypted communications showed careful coordination between Argus contractors and local Afghan forces in the days leading up to Operation Sandstorm. The documentation provided clear evidence that the ambush had been meticulously planned with insider knowledge of the Delta Force unit's movements. Johnson's pursuit of Clifford represented a shift in his campaign. Previous targets had been eliminated quickly, but Clifford's escape forced Johnson to adapt his strategy. The FBI's behavioral analysis suggested that this development had been anticipated in Johnson's planning, indicating that the assault on Clifford's residence might have been intended to force his relocation to a more predictable location. FBI criminal profiler Jennifer Rodriguez assessed Johnson's assault on the Argus facility as a military operation rather than criminal activity. Her analysis emphasized that each kill was a tactical objective executed with maximum efficiency. The attack on the Argus complex demonstrated planning and execution comparable to high-level special operations conducted by a single operator. On May 10, 2024, Johnson initiated his infiltration of the Argus training facility. 3 days of surveillance from surrounding elevations enabled him to map guard movements, Thermal imaging revealed an unmarked HVAC shaft absent from facility blueprints. Johnson accessed the facility at 2:34 through the identified shaft. He silently eliminated 2 technicians in the server room using a combat knife. After gaining control of the facility's systems, he created surveillance blind spots and unlocked internal access points. At 3:05, a pre-planted explosive device detonated in the ammunition storage area, triggering a chain reaction. The resulting chaos and smoke coverage dispersed the security forces, compromising their coordinated defense. Over the next hour, Johnson systematically eliminated security personnel. 4 guards were neutralized using an M4 rifle acquired from the first casualty. 5 others were eliminated in close-quarter combat using knife techniques. 1 guard fell from the roof during hand-to-hand combat. Security Chief James Constantine established a defensive position in the central bunker with remaining personnel. Johnson utilized the ventilation system to deploy smoke grenades, forcing the defenders to abandon their position. In the ensuing firefight, Constantine was wounded and attempted surrender. Johnson terminated him, leaving a photograph of Sergeant Miller with the body. By the time Johnson reached the helipad, Clifford had been evacuated via emergency flight. Flight data analysis indicated New York as the destination, specifically a private aviation facility catering to high-profile clients. The operation resulted in 11 eliminated security personnel, extensive infrastructure damage, and loss of valuable equipment. Argus sustained damages estimated at $23 million. Investigation of the facility post-assault revealed Johnson's comprehensive understanding of the compound's vulnerabilities. The placement of explosives indicated detailed knowledge of the ammunition storage layout and the likely chain reaction effect of the initial detonation. Analysis of security personnel casualties showed that Johnson had prioritized targets based on their threat level and access to facility systems. The elimination of server room technicians first demonstrated his understanding of modern security infrastructure and the importance of controlling facility systems. The FBI's technical assessment revealed that Johnson had intercepted and analyzed Argus's security protocols during his surveillance period. His ability to create systematic blind spots in the surveillance network indicated advanced knowledge of the facility's security architecture. Recovery teams documented Johnson's efficient use of acquired resources. The M4 rifle taken from the first security casualty was employed with precision, suggesting extensive familiarity with the weapon system. Shell casing analysis confirmed that no rounds were wasted, with each shot resulting in a neutralized target. The assault demonstrated Johnson's ability to adapt tactics based on changing circumstances. When direct confrontation with Constantine's defensive position proved impractical, he utilized environmental manipulation through the ventilation system to force their movement. Evidence recovered from Constantine's body provided additional intelligence about Argus's involvement in Operation Sandstorm. Documents found in his office linked the company to multiple classified operations in Afghanistan during the period of Johnson's unit's ambush. The systematic destruction of Argus's infrastructure suggested a secondary objective beyond eliminating Clifford. The damage inflicted on the facility effectively disabled one of the largest private military training centers in the country, disrupting operations for numerous former military personnel connected to the original conspiracy. Forensic analysis of communication logs showed that Johnson had intercepted emergency protocols, allowing him to anticipate Clifford's evacuation route. The precision timing of the assault suggested he had intended to force Clifford's relocation to a more vulnerable position, rather than eliminate him at the facility. Surveillance records from Agent Michael Donovan documented the penetration of General Warren Higgins' penthouse security on May 15, 2024. The timeline showed a methodical compromise of security systems between 2045 and 2225, culminating in the discovery of 2 incapacitated guards and General Higgins' body. Johnson arrived in New York after tracking Clifford's movements. Intelligence indicated Clifford was meeting General Higgins at his Manhattan penthouse, a location protected by biometric access controls, armed security, and continuous surveillance. At 1830, Johnson accessed the adjacent office building using forged maintenance credentials. He gained roof access under the pretext of HVAC system inspection. At 22:15, he executed a building-to-building jump spanning 15 feet at the 50th floor level, an action demonstrating exceptional physical capabilities and complete disregard for personal safety. After entering through the ventilation system, Johnson neutralized 2 security personnel using non-lethal methods: a precise strike to the skull base and a tranquilizer injection. This selective application of force marked a tactical shift, with lethal action reserved exclusively for primary targets. General Higgins was found in his office. The safe had been breached using an electronic decoder. Ballistic analysis confirmed that Higgins was eliminated with his own weapon: a single close-range shot to the head. The evidence indicated professional execution without signs of struggle or torture. Documents arranged on Higgins' desk provided direct evidence of his involvement in coordinating the ambush of Johnson's Delta Force unit. The general's mobile phone contained messages regarding an upcoming meeting with Clifford at Sierra Vista Winery in Napa Valley. Investigation of the penthouse revealed how Johnson had systematically disabled security measures. Starting with Camera 7 in the West Wing, he created a cascading failure that compromised the entire surveillance network. The building's advanced security systems, including biometric scanners and motion detectors, proved ineffective against his infiltration methods. Technical analysis of Higgins's safe showed sophisticated decryption techniques had been employed to access classified documents. The materials recovered established a direct link between Higgins, Clifford, and the private military contractor Argus in planning Operation Sandstorm's sabotage. The investigation revealed Higgins' role as a key facilitator in the conspiracy. His position had allowed him to manipulate military intelligence, ensuring Johnson's unit would be deployed into a prepared ambush zone. Financial records showed substantial payments routed through offshore accounts following the operation's execution. The precision of Johnson's assault demonstrated extensive pre-mission intelligence gathering. His knowledge of guard rotations, security protocols, and building infrastructure suggested weeks of surveillance and planning. The method of entry, the building-to-building jump, indicated detailed analysis of approach vectors and security blind spots. Evidence suggested Johnson had anticipated the likelihood of finding intelligence about Clifford's movements in Higgins's possession. The careful examination of documents and phone data showed a deliberate search for specific information, rather than random intelligence gathering. The FBI's reconstruction of events highlighted Johnson's evolving tactical approach. Unlike previous assaults, this operation emphasized stealth and minimal casualty counts. The non-lethal neutralization of security personnel marked a significant departure from his earlier methodology. Recovery teams noted that Johnson's exit strategy remained undetected despite extensive review of security footage from surrounding buildings. This capability to vanish from one of Manhattan's most monitored areas demonstrated sophisticated counter-surveillance techniques. Analysis of communication patterns revealed that Higgins had been in frequent contact with remaining members of the conspiracy in the days leading up to his death. The intelligence gathered from his communications provided law enforcement with a clearer picture of the network's current structure and vulnerable points. The final operation unfolded at Sierra Vista Winery in Napa Valley on May 20, 2024. Federal agents had tracked Terrence Clifford to the location, but Johnson had already established his position 24 hours earlier. Using an M24 sniper rifle, he eliminated 3 perimeter guards from distances of 600 to 800 meters. Johnson breached the compound by activating pre-planted incendiary devices, creating diversionary fires across multiple buildings. During the ensuing chaos, he neutralized 2 additional guards in the inner courtyard. Clifford, recognizing the imminent threat, moved toward the helipad with his remaining security detail. A firefight erupted between Johnson and Clifford's last bodyguard. Despite sustaining a shoulder wound, Johnson eliminated the threat. As Clifford's helicopter lifted approximately 20 feet off the ground, Johnson, having expended his ammunition, executed an unprecedented tactical decision, leaping and grasping the landing gear. The helicopter's flight data recorder documented the final confrontation. Johnson forced his way into the cabin, engaging in close-quarter combat with Clifford, a former military instructor. The struggle was intense, with Clifford managing to fire a point-blank shot into Johnson's chest using his personal sidearm. Despite the fatal wound, Johnson inflicted multiple knife strikes on Clifford. The violent struggle in the confined space caused the helicopter to enter an uncontrolled spin, eventually crashing in a wooded area 1 mile from the winery. Detective Daniel Morris's investigation of the crash site revealed unprecedented findings. The cabin showed extensive evidence of the desperate final fight. Clifford sustained multiple precision knife wounds, while Johnson had a fatal gunshot wound to the chest. The investigation team recovered an Army identification tag from Johnson's body, bearing the engraved names of all his fallen squad members. This artifact, carried for a decade, provided a powerful testament to his unwavering mission of retribution. Forensic analysis of the helicopter wreckage confirmed both men were alive for several minutes after impact. Blood pattern analysis indicated that Johnson, despite his mortal wound, maintained consciousness long enough to ensure Clifford's demise. The FBI's reconstruction of events revealed Johnson's methodical approach extended to his final operation. The pre-positioned incendiary devices and calculated sniper positions demonstrated extensive pre-planning, even for what would become his last mission. Technical examination of recovered equipment showed Johnson had prepared for multiple contingencies. His tactical gear included specialized climbing equipment for the helicopter assault, indicating he had anticipated the possibility of an aerial evacuation attempt. Documentation recovered from Clifford's possession provided the final pieces of evidence regarding Operation Sandstorm's betrayal. These materials confirmed his role as the architect of the ambush that killed Johnson's unit 10 years earlier. The investigation concluded that the operation's scope extended beyond personal vengeance. Johnson's systematic elimination of conspiracy members and collection of evidence had effectively exposed a network of corruption within military and private security sectors. Analysis of communication devices recovered from the crash site revealed Clifford had been coordinating with remaining conspiracy members until his final moments. These communications provided law enforcement with crucial intelligence about the broader network of individuals involved in the original betrayal.